Welcome back. Friday safety meeting focus of the week. It's May 22nd, right at 6:30. How's everybody doing this morning? Hey, Ben, good morning to you as well. So this week's code of conduct is to work in an environmental conscientious manner. So go around checking our silt fence, making sure we got our bags and any catch basins, making sure that we're doing our part to keep our environment nice and clean. Make sure we got spill kits. It's a good reminder, just in case if we have a hydraulic leak, we have a spill kit to clean up any spills that we might generate. So this week we're going to close the loop on our biological hazards here at Engineers Construction. We talked about ticks about 2 weeks ago, and then we're going to talk about poisonous plants today. So our friendly leaves of 3. So here's a good image of poison ivy, what it looks like. Again, it has kind of a pointy end to it as leaves of 3. When you see leaves like this, let it be. Let's not touch it. And if you have to work in areas like this, we'll go over some of our mitigating controls later in the PowerPoint presentation. Here's an example of the different seasons of how it looks. Right now we're kind of getting that spring and summer feel, so everything's turning green on us, especially the last couple of weeks. So again, as the leaves mature, it turns from kind of a reddish tint to a nice bright green to then starting to tarnish green into like a greenish brown in the fall. So again, leaves of 3, let it be. Here's an example of poison sumac. Again, poison sumac could be very, creates a lot of irritation on the skin and can spread rapidly. So again, if we ever have to go in these situations, let's try to do a lot of it through our machine work and not go in there with clippers and weed whackers. Here's a kind of example of all 3 put together. You got poison oak on the left that has a very similar look as poison ivy, has a little more ragged edge of the leaf itself. Poison sumac is very synergized, where the leaves look identical from the right side to the left side, and then it has one at the end pointed straight up, very much like a flower. And then the last is wild parsnip. Wild parsnip is a little bit different because the oils of wild parsnip doesn't irritate our skin, but what it does is it creates like a magnetifying to UV. So when we get the oils on our skin, the sun beats down and it creates more of a burn than an irritation or itchiness of our skin. So wild parsnip is one that we want to make sure that if we do get into that, we right away use some type of Dawn product or a good cleaner that can wash off the oils from our skin. We have roughly about 30 minutes. If you feel like you've been in an area where you shouldn't have been, if it's poison ivy or wild parsnip, you have about 30 minutes to hopefully try to wash all the oils off your skin before you really start getting irritation. So the controls that we have for our friendly leaves, our poisonous plants, we want to make sure and that's why we have this training, is to identify and avoid contact. So as soon as we kind of identify these areas on our job sites, and again, utilizing the JHA, we have that biological section. That's where we can identify and then communicate that we have poison ivy or any poisonous plants on our projects, and then let all of our fellow coworkers know to avoid those areas, or if they do, making sure that they have the proper protection. If it's Tyvek suits, if it's making sure that we're just going to mitigate the controls by removing all those with our excavators, loader, all of our heavy equipment. We can also, if we have to do any surveying in those areas, we do have this poison ivy and ivy formulated kind of skin cleaner. It's a post contact skin, and then we also have one that's kind of a pre-contact. So you can actually kind of put it on your skin before you go in those areas, and it helps prevent any skin irritation due to these poisonous plants. We can also use rubbing alcohol. We have a lot of hand sanitizer and rubbing alcohol now available. They say that rubbing alcohol it helps remove the oily residue up to about 30 minutes after exposure. And the same thing with Dawn. Any kind of Dawn product, dish soap that has Dawn in it really helps mitigate the spread of those oils to get your skin really irritation and itchy. I got into some pretty bad poison ivy here at the home over the quarantine as we're doing yard work, and it's not fun, and it spreads in areas that you don't want it to spread in. So let's make sure we identify and communicate those areas and put up these proper controls so you yourself don't have to have poison, be affected by poisonous plants. That's all I have today for poisonous plants. I'm going to see if Ken is back on and available. Ken, are you here?
Yes, you hear me okay?
Yes, I have you. I'm going to make you the presenter now. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Ken, the screen is yours.
Okay, show my screen. There, do you see the email of the week?
Yes, we do.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Well, thank you, Matt, for the presentation on poisonous plants. It can be especially difficult and a lot of discomfort in the warmer weather as well, which we're coming upon. So announcements, Monday is Memorial Day, so our offices are closed, and please secure your job site to protect the public from any exposure to hazards and also to prevent theft and vandalism. All those issues are important throughout the holiday weekends, especially as we're entering the summer months. So we got new hires. I got Jacob Verno, he's a project engineer, Bernie Charlin, a driver, and Connor Lassard, a skilled labor. And there's actually a few more we'll add on to next week, along with the pictures of these new employees. So look for next week's photos and a couple more. For all you 401k participants, which is typically anyone who's been here at least 1 year and then starting on I think it's a 6-month kind of timeline to get onto the plan. If you're on the plan, there's been a lot going on, as we all know, with the stock market. So just to let you know that Pam Driver, who is the consultant from Morgan Stanley manages our funds and everything for 401k. She is available by email and can be contacted by email, and you can set up an online consultation with her, or education they call it. Sorry. They like to think of it as educating us because the decisions are on us, not on them. And please, old messages here, old announcements, and especially this first one, please have your time submitted by 8 a.m. Monday is applicable to next week, especially with the short week, because the accounting staff will be working remotely, but also because, and actually it's 8 a.m. Tuesday next week, because it is a holiday on Monday. So we just need to make sure we're on it and on our game and get it done early for the accounting staff and process things, because it is challenging remotely. And all paychecks are all still being sent, including live ones, and still being sent by regular mail. And don't come to the office for your paycheck or other businesses. Call ahead if the transaction to be done. Of course, Memorial Day is a time to remember those fallen heroes that we have. And this weekend's a time to reflect on those fighting for our country and our freedoms. And our very own fallen soldier is Kevin Sheehan. He's certainly our most honored fallen hero and hero of all time. And Kevin was killed in action on May 25th, 2004. Staff Sergeant Sheehan of the Vermont National Guard left his wife Heather, his son Nathan, daughter Alice, and extended family, friends, and colleagues at ECI. So we are forever grateful for Kevin's service and sacrifice. Oops, I think I somehow got your picture in front of me. Let me see. I don't know what I have to do. Show my screen again or something, maybe. What do you see, Matt?
It says you
Okay,
still
I'm
have
back from the screen I
control.
was reading from.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, yeah, my screen here and I wasn't able to follow. Okay. So on the ECI COVID-19 policies and information, we have the policies in place. So if you need them for reference, you can just click them here. For projects this week, we are presenting on the Sunny Hollow water main extension project in Colchester, and we recently completed the HDD portion, that's horizontal directional drilling portion of the Sunny Hollow waterline project for district number 3, fire district 3. And work started in the fall and is currently ongoing to finish up with the remaining tie-ins and restoration. The work included installation of approximately 5,050 linear feet of 12-inch diameter. That's DR, so a dimensional ratio, diameter to wall thickness ratio. HDPE water main, as well as a hydrant, air release structure, valving and tie-in connections at Severance Corners and Sunderland Woods. Contract allowed for the installation to be performed by open excavation or directional drilling at contractor's option. The traffic, utility congestion, and that alignment on the highway and banks, going the only choice. And ECI board in 6 different locations with lengths of 630, 850, 1325, and 1025, 800, and 320. The 320-foot shot was entirely in bedrock and was drilled with our alternate system. Bedrock in other locations was encountered, I should say, missed it there, and removed by traditional excavation methods between the bores. So we suggested the bore locations to avoid those rocks that come out by the hammering and excavation. So this is one of the more recent projects, probably the last 4 here. I can tell because the last one was done in the spring. We have some masks on the guys here. This is removing or installing, I guess, installing grill steel as the probably as we are pulling back and reaming. And the guys mixing mud. And this was last year doing some electrofusion, or not electrofusion, but butt fusion with the McElroy. And it looks like they're debeating after a fusion. They go in there and they twist that long stem cutter at the end. You can't see the cutter, and it just carves off the bead that forms inside the PE pipe. And here we're putting in some of the open cut water line, doing a connection underneath. And from the project archives, Memorial Day at the Essex Memorial Park at 5 Corners. This is around 2002, and the guys are standing around the fountain in the center of the park. It's ready to be poured, obviously. There's Jack Kerr just delivering a load of concrete from ST Griswold, and it's John Zeno in the middle, and it looks like Paul Saburn on the left, chatting with Jack. So getting ready to pour though. So that's what I got, Matt. I hope everyone has a safe and nice extra long, not an extra long weekend, but a long weekend with Memorial Day. And don't forget to the whole remembrance of our fallen heroes and keep everybody in mind, and don't forget to secure your job sites. So that's what I got today. I'll turn it back to you, Matt.
Thanks, Ken. Well said. Let's be safe out there. Have a great day.